Hello you guys, welcome back to another cruise vlog. My name is Kayla Jukic if this is the first time you're seeing me. If it's not, welcome back. We are currently on board the Norwegian Prima and we are at our fourth stop, which is Georgetown, Grand Cayman. This port is actually a tender port, which means we're parked in the water and we have to take little small tender boats or like a speedboat almost to get to shore. I don't feel like there's very many tender ports, but I have been to this one before, I believe in 2013, so it's been quite a long time. We honestly have no plan today. Again, I feel like that's what we're doing all of these port stops. We're kind of just going off and seeing what there is. Like most ports, there is a ton of shopping, so I think we're just gonna do that and see where it takes us. For reference, it's Wednesday, January 4th. We arrived at 10 a.m., but the tender boats take quite some time, and it is 28 degrees, so it is nice and hot. Tomorrow we are gonna be in Jamaica, and it is showing rain, so hopefully that is gonna change. We are just waiting for Alan's parents, and then we're gonna get off the boat, and you guys are to come with us. So we met up with Alan's parents and headed down to the gangway. We were one of the first people on as we needed assistance since this is a tender boat, as Alan's dad is handicapped and in a scooter. One of the staff members basically assisted us down and we were the first to get on the tender before anyone else. They do have the first row marked for handicap access, which is nice for anyone who needs it. This is pretty much what the boat looked like at the top, and then they also have stairs for seating at the bottom. They do have a couple tender boats going, so we were at one side of the boat filling ours up, and then you can see this clip of another boat coming back to go to the far side of the boat to pick up more people there. A total of 250 passengers can fit on these boats at a time, and you can make tender reservations if you want to be off at a specific time via those white touch screens I showed you a few minutes ago. They had staff on board as well to help people on and off, as well as direct them to more seating. I prefer just walking off the ship. It's usually a lot faster that way because with tender boats you have to get on, sometimes you have to wait in the theater to get on, which I'll talk about in a different vlog because I had another tender boat in Bahamas. Then you have to wait for the tender to fill up, then you have to actually get to the island, then you have to get off the boat and then walk to the island or the port. So it's definitely more time consuming, but one thing I like is just getting to see the ship at different angles from so close up. It's really cool and interesting. The ride to the port was about 5 to 7 minutes, I would say. They don't go super fast. It's just a really nice, relaxing speed. It's definitely a good time to enjoy the fresh air and just take a look what's around. There's always a few different ships docked here each day, so it's definitely cool to see the other boats in the water while you're in the tender. I honestly do not remember this port at all because it had been 10 plus years since the last time I was here, but once you get off the boat, you have about a 2 to 3 minute walk to get to the terminal. They did leave a reminder right on the island once you get off the tender to tell you when the last tender coming back on the ship is for both guests and crew. It's just another reminder so that you don't miss this, because if you miss it, you're not getting back on the Prima. When you first walk into the terminal, this is what you will see. It honestly looks and feels a bit overwhelming, even me just like looking back at these clips, because there is a lot going on. There's little carts to get drinks or food slash snacks. There's people trying to sell you excursions. You're trying to figure out how to get out to the main roads. People are trying to figure out where to go for their booked excursions. There's just a lot going on and it feels a little bit chaotic, but there is a lot of like maps and signs pointing, you know, in the right direction, or at least trying to. If you are trying to get out to the main road, you will need to look for this Shops at Royal Water building. This is where you will get out. It looks like just a bunch of more stores, but if you keep walking through it, you will see that this is your way out to the main road. Now again, right away, people will be here trying to sell you excursions, trying to get you a taxi, whatever it is. So if it's something you're not interested in, just keep walking. You can kind of do your own thing. This main area has a bunch of walking you can do, a bunch of restaurants, and more shopping. At first, we opted for just walking around, taking a look into some stores, mainly, you know, looking at watches and perfume and cologne. We found this little alley where we spent maybe like 30-45 minutes looking at the shops here. Then we kind of started to notice a lot of signs that said stores had moved to this like Bayshore Mall, so we definitely felt pretty intrigued and we decided to walk there to go check it out. In total from the port, the Bayshore Mall was probably a 10-minute walk to get there. In terms of location, when you're walking out of the terminal and facing that main road where I had just showed you a few minutes ago, you would have to go to your right. Now most of these stores are like watch/jewelry stores, and they honestly started to feel a little bit repetitive in my opinion going in and out of them, but they had a Rolex, a Cartier, and then, you know, towards the back they had small little cafes where you can get drinks and snacks, perfume stores, and smaller watch stores. So we went into one watch and jewelry store and we spent a good hour in here. They had very rare and extremely interesting watches and jewelry. We saw this one where it was like a collapsible ring, but you could also stretch it out to make it a bracelet, and it was all real diamonds and everything. It was extremely expensive, and there is nothing like this in the world right now. If I remember correctly, it's an Italian designer, and I believe the guy who was showing us said that the Caymans is the only people who carry it in store or something like that. So it was very, very cool.
I'll say, come see you, Revelino. Come see him.
When we were done there, we decided to walk maybe 5 minutes further past the Bayshore Mall, and we found this little harbor. If you're looking for a good photo spot, this is definitely the place to take them. The water is so blue, as you can see, and you have the ships in the background. We took so many individual and group family photos here that turned out absolutely amazing. After that, we got into a taxi and drove about 20 minutes to go to the Turtle Center, which is formerly called the Turtle Farm. Our taxi driver was extremely nice and friendly. She was telling us about the Grand Caymans while driving. She was showing us their grocery stores. She took us past one of the historic houses there and more. Being from North America, it was definitely an experience seeing drivers on the right side of the car and driving on the opposite side of the road than we're used to. So very, very cool. We got to the Turtle Center and we checked in. Our tour guide actually got us a discount because she is a local, so this is definitely something to keep in mind. They gave us these little arm wristbands so that we could get in. I think it ended up being like 10 or 15 US dollars per person to go in.
I'm here with, what's your name?
Christian.
Turtle.
Yeah. Come check them out.
This is the best team in the world.
It's Toronto.
That's it.
When you walk in, this is the first main area you're going to see, and we were absolutely blown away by how big these turtles are and how many of them were in this little area. There was hundreds and hundreds of them, and it was just so amazing just to see them up close, and truly, I don't even think the camera does justice to how big they are.
Older ones are like these, the shells are almost faded. They lose the lines and the color, like that one there.
This guy.
Yep, he's almost there. The color reverses and like, you lose all your wrinkles. But it's mating season. Chances are you'll see some mating before you leave today.
Oh.
And there's a lot. There you go. There you go.
Are they?
Yep, there's a couple trying to mate and a couple others trying to. You see the bites on the neck, like those fingers there?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
During the mating season, that's how the male bites the neck.
Wow.
We were lucky to watch them do a feeding with the turtles, and you can see how many more there is now as they all came out for this because they were definitely hungry. Now, moving through the center, we got to an area that had some smaller turtles that you were only able to look at. You weren't able to touch them. Honestly, I say smaller turtles, but they were still pretty big. Now, those turtles you weren't able to touch, but moving further on, they actually do have an area where you can actually touch the turtles, which is so extremely fun. One rule they do have and ask of everyone is to please wash and sanitize your hands before touching the turtles. So they set up a hand wash station just behind it so that you can do so. If you are going to touch the turtles, please don't skip this. This was a very interesting and exciting experience, but it was also a little bit sad for me just because my mom passed away in 2017 and she actually came to this turtle center in 2011 and she was able to touch, and she actually has a picture, I still have it to this day, of her holding a turtle. So the fact that I got to come and do this was definitely, you know, a very fun experience, but also it was memorable that I got to do it just like my mom did.
Yeah. Does it feel like Amar?
Hard.
Huh?
Hard.
Why are the predators when the open water can be free?